There you go.
All right, so I
got
think
some people
we
lined
are
up?
back. I don't know if we got any people on, but it has started streaming. Depends on whether or not your subscribers actually pay attention to your live streams.
Right.
It's a good idea to set up your channel to auto tweet with hashtags. That got us a lot more engagement. You can do that through YouTube.
That's cool. How does it do the hashtags?
You have to set up what it tweets.
Oh,
you can
like
put in a custom tweet,
pre-canned or whatever.
Yeah, and then every time you start live, it
Yeah.
just posts it to Twitter.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna.
Yeah, we're a little bright on the lights here. Take down the white LEDs. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That way I can see. Every time I look at the camera, I go blind. But we're back. Kalen just got finished giving his talk.
That I did.
How do you feel like it went?
I'm just tweeting out this link. I feel like it was good. It was good. It was all right, I just tweeted that out. Maybe we can check, see if that works. It was, it was a little bit. They were a little quiet,
Yeah,
like,
it is like middle of the afternoon, and they just had cookies out here, and everybody's kind of tired and asleep.
It was a rough. Yeah, everything was tired. Nobody laughed at my jokes. A couple of them.
It's because they weren't funny.
Because there could be that.
Yeah.
There could be that.
Yeah, it's a little different than Mage Talk, where you don't really get any feedback till days or weeks after.
You have a close friend that just laughs at all your jokes just because he's your friend.
Yeah, well, he's like, we got to try to make this entertaining. I'm going to laugh so people know that this is
it's like a laugh track.
Exactly.
What we need here is we need a laugh track.
You know what?
Right?
I'm wondering if you could bring your own laugh track.
Bring my own.
As sophisticated as this event is, I bet you could do a laugh track. That would actually be funny. You would get real laughs from the fake laughs.
You would. That's the professional way to do it. But it was good. I like the questions I got. Got some good questions.
Was real good.
Yeah. So got some good Q&A, and so it was good.
Yeah. Well, when I did mine, I was concerned that I would just get finished. And then you would stand there and say, okay, anyone have any questions? And it'd just be crickets, and everyone would just be looking at you. But I got some intelligent questions that allowed me to give some nice responses, and I thought you got the same.
Yeah, it was good.
Which is a sign of an intelligent crowd, right?
Yeah. I mean, you guys are unbelievably sharp.
Well, not you guys, because you're not here.
Well, you're mostly smart. Mostly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about you people.
Yeah. Is Gary lining some people up?
I thought you had that conversation. I was over there talking. I got drug over here. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, we could just look over there and start grabbing people. I don't know those people.
There was one guy that I talked to, but we should get Johnny over here.
Get him.
He's like, no.
Everybody's shaking their heads. People are afraid of cameras. I don't understand why people are so afraid of cameras.
The lights come on. People get nervous.
But why? Like, you're literally just holding a stick and talking. And if you look silly, you just look silly. I mean, you just
It's only the whole world that's looking at you and making fun of you.
I've seen my YouTube channel. The whole world is definitely not watching me.
Right.
It's not that big.
Yeah.
If the whole world did watch me, that means it's a success.
True.
The only way the whole world's going to see it is if people start sharing it, which means they like it.
Yeah.
Or it was awful. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's got to be one extreme.
Yeah. So,
well, we got
a
head of sales over there at Creativity. We could drag him in here if you wanted to.
Yeah, let's see if he wants to pop in.
Go grab him.
They seem deep in conversation.
They do seem like they're having some sort of
very
heavy
deep.
Conversation.
Super deep.
I'm gonna wait.
Marty, bring it in, baby. You want to talk a little bit about?
Martin.
Here we are with Marty. You're live. We're live here. Say hello.
Hello.
You've got the deepest, most baritone voice.
Hello.
Marty P.
Radio, right?
Yeah, right.
Radio.
There you go.
That was one of his jokes nobody laughed at.
But I just laughed. That's the difference. They don't laugh at the jokes. Yeah, they can be good jokes.
Asleep.
Be more funny.
Yeah.
It's all in the delivery, man.
I'm starting to hear that same feedback a lot. I got to be more funny. So Marty, are you the CTO at?
Yes, CTO.
Yeah. And we've got that right here. If you're following along at home, So let's hear about Mojo Stratus. We've talked about it a little bit before,
Mojo Stratus, Cloud Killer.
So Mojo Stratus is our shared hosting environment for Magento, and it's using a lot of the latest technologies, including Docker Swarm, Amazon CloudFront on the front end, to be able to give people a full-blown cluster experience without having to invest completely in a cluster environment. So it's completely redundant across Amazon availability zones, and also completely siloed out as far as permissions. So unlike a regular shared server you'd be on, you're not really sharing environments as much. You're just really all within your own containers and within your own environment.
So you're saying that Mojo Stratus is a cluster?
A server cluster, it's different.
It's a different thing. Now, like for merchants that have their like an in-house team managing their AWS, like who's it a good fit for? Like what type of merchant, what size?
I mean, it really can fit all sizes of merchants because it does basically infinitely scale horizontally. So in that regards, we're just doing our billing based off of how many sessions you have. So as you continue to grow, it just grows with you. You have a sudden burst in sales. You don't have to worry about upgrading equipment or contacting your hosting environment. It just scales automatically for you.
So what kind of access do people have? I run into a lot of clients that have that one tech guy, right? He's the server guy, and he loves to be able to control the servers that they're on, even though that obviously in an enterprise e-commerce situation, that's not ideal, having that one guy that is the server guy in your office. So how do I take Stratus and position that to those merchants to where, like, how much access does that guy have? How can is it structured in such a way to where he has control and I could sell it, you're still the server guy, you just have to use Mojo Stratus?
To some degree, he might have to give up some, because a lot of the things that are happening behind the scenes. As far as how things are scaling out, you're not going to have control over that. You don't want to have control over that because it's happening automatically. But they're still going to have, full access to SSH. You can still do your deployments however you want to have them occur there. So it's not going to affect him too much, but it is. He's not going to have root access to the whole system to do whatever he wants. There's definitely a system behind there that needs to stay intact.
I understand. I mean, so it's basically you're going to protect him from himself. So I just need to sell him and get him on it so that he doesn't screw something up.
You want to try and do that anyway.
Oh, of course.
Root access is not something that we give out lightly.
I actually had a client one time, or not even a client, I take this back. It was a potential client. I was like, they're like, we're having a problem with this. And I'm like, well, we're going to need access to your server, preferably your dev server. So they just emailed me. Like right then, in the middle of that conversation, they just emailed me the root password to their server that password got access to the dev environment and production and God knows what. And
nice move.
Yeah, I was just like, we're going to need access to server. They're like, oh, I sent it. And I'm like, I don't think that's how we should do this.
Yeah. Well, on the other hand, you've had people that they have given higher level access to, and we've seen people wipe out their entire web directory with just one bad RM command. And
just accidentally put a slash there, and what happens, right?
Or a space in between a slash. Mm-hmm. That's the worst one because you just have that. You put that space at the end of that one directory, and it's going to trying to wipe out root as well.
What do you think for people that are getting started with AWS? What do you think are some of the common mistakes people make, or the things you guys learned as you were getting over the learning curve?
Well, I mean, just an AWS adventure, and as far as goes with any server that you're trying to manage yourself, AWS is not any kind of managed solution. So you're just going to have a server, and then you have to figure out what to do with everything as far as the complete software stack on it. And that's really why managed hosting is managed hosting, because you need to have somebody there that knows what they're doing. Because trying to do it off, off of websites and learning it just from there, you're going to have a massive amount of problems as far as getting just the stack running. Whereas, maybe 10 years ago, you could just install LAMP and be done with it. Now it's not that easy anymore.
Got it. I was just gonna pull them in, but they walked off. Yeah, you're gonna get interrogated some more.
So,
I didn't have a follow-up question because I was gonna.
This event, like, nobody throws a party like Mage Mojo throws a party. Nobody. How much? I know Eric and Marsha has been working real hard on this. How much involvement did you have in the planning of this? Any, or did you just have to do all the work at the office while they did this?
I was doing all the work at the office. Basically, they didn't have me involved in any of the planning here. I wasn't in the city either, so it makes it
that makes it a little more difficult, right? So he keeps rolling around.
You want to come in?
And he said they got.
All right, we'll bring you.
Commitment to do it. So you guys are doing it again next year.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's just a huge financial commitment. It's not a huge financial commitment if you just do something basic, but this is far.
Yeah. Well, we're really hoping that next year will be even bigger. We wanted to try and build this up. Last year the event kind of shrunk. So this year we're trying to make it bigger, and then the next year to make it even bigger still. So once hopefully the word gets out about this, then we can get a lot more people here and make this even a bigger event.
Beautiful, awesome. Well, Marty, thank you very much. Good to have you. We got some other people who got to slide in here. Gary's giving us the nod.
Come
on in.
Us the nod.
Jared, what's up, dude?
Man, he looks just like our CTO. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone in Magento looks the same, but that's cool. It's a good environment. That's what's exciting to be about.
Step on up in here.
All right.
So
We got a little. We got.
There's. You want to have your. There you go.
There you go.
So introduce yourself. What company you're with?
Yep. Jared from Trellis, e-commerce agency focused on B2B. We're here excited to talk to fellow ecosystem folks.
Love it. How long have you been focused on B2B?
Exclusively since we started in 2009, we've been focused on B2B. A lot of distributors, manufacturers saw an opportunity where people weren't servicing it, so here we are today.
I didn't even realize, because it's funny, because we've been talking, so I didn't realize, because a lot of people are focused on B2B now because it's become an important thing in the last couple years with Magento, so I didn't realize you were focused on it for that long. That's really awesome.
Yep. I think that we're seeing Magento moving more and more to B2B, and there's other solutions servicing the B2C market. And luckily, we're sort of on the front wave of it and trying to stay there. So
it's a good place to be.
Where are you located?
We're right outside Boston in Medford, Massachusetts. A little bit of a changed-up team where we have folks in Alaska, Poland. As long as we can find some good talent, that's what we're looking for, is the top people. So. Yep.
How big's the agency?
We're small guys, so we're about 20 folks, but it's almost exclusively the operation of developers.
Right.
We're the techie nerds that exist, and none of the glitz and glam is the way that I put us. So
all engineers.
Almost all engineers, and about 3 project managers, and hell, even our COO is a developer, and then there's just me, who's the least technical guy in the room.
You're a Magento partner agency?
Yeah, we're a Magento professional partner, and so we've been doing the Magento game since the beginning, and sort of it's treated us well, and we love the ecosystem, the folks that we meet, and sort of moving towards the future. So
good. So is this your first Meet Magento event, or you come up here? I mean, you're not too far away.
Yep. So I did when Interactive Floors, I think, started it.
Yeah.
We were involved then. I popped by. It seems to be a better and better community, and what Meet Magento is doing is great. Since I saw the meetup sort of dropping down in New York, so the community needed something like this. So
nice. What was your role again at Trellis? I know you guys were just talking about it, but
yeah. So I'm the Chief Revenue Officer.
There you go.
It basically means that I hang out with clients all day, see what they want to do, try to best facilitate introductions to our third-party vendors, because we're really at the mercy. We're just the guys that connect it. That's all we do. We're not that important. So,
what are some of the biggest pain points that you're seeing with with B2B merchants right now?
Yeah, so in the B2B space, there is a battle to almost focus on design that gives the illusion of a B2C experience. So back in the day, all they cared about was function, and now it's becoming a lot more UI, UX focused, and some folks just aren't moving with that trend, and it's been our job to slowly ease these people with ancient systems towards the future of beautiful B2B, making it a little bit sexier.
Okay.
So.
Beautiful B2B, that's a good catchphrase.
Beautiful B2B, see, there you go.
Is it, and is it hard?
B2B.
B2B is beautiful, yeah.
Yep.
Is it hard for them to kind of sell internally, because they're probably bigger organizations, to kind of sell the importance internally of being beautiful?
Yeah, so I'll put it this way. It's never the director or VP of sales that hires us, because that's the biggest thing where, there is sort of this odd thing where it's taking over, human elements of the business to drive better efficiencies. So the outside sales reps that have been there for 20 years sometimes don't love it, and we have to find a way to make it so that the technology is working for them, making their job easier, and they don't feel threatened. So,
a lot of stakeholders to manage.
Yep. But that's where you want to be. You want to be innovating with folks that haven't innovated in a while.
Not just stakeholders to manage, but you've got basically an internal team of people fighting against your project in a lot of ways. I mean, those sales reps are usually old school guys that are scared of what this technology is going to do and if it's going to replace them. So how do you go in there and you explain to them and you sell them on why the project's going to be beneficial to them?
Yeah, so first, the beauty of why we like working in B2B is the fact that, quite frankly, there's a lot of loyalty among these distributors. We do a ton of work up in Boston with folks where they've hired these people, and quite honestly, they'll put them into the factory working, keep them on their salary, and everyone's happy. But the other side of that has just been opening up case studies of what other B2B merchants have done and the growth of sales, because quite honestly, if someone can go from selling, $10 million of gaskets and gauges to $25 million with the aid of the software, they're going to be happy, and everyone sort of ends up okay, and the real stakeholders are the most excited. So,
for the individual sales agents who are like, hey, this is going to compete with my income, my commissions, are there ways? How do you deal? How do you get them on board? It's a tough one.
I mean, quite honestly, my biggest focus has been less sales, more getting to learn the businesses of our clients, and part of that is meeting the sales team, them getting to know really what's involved, because quite honestly, that's where issues come, is when our clients don't disclose to their sales team or are doing it in secret ways with us. And then there's no buy-in to the technology by the people that are really going to have to implement it.
Yeah, getting buy-in sounds like the name of the game.
Just keep on going.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We got a couple people got to get in here. All right, man. We'll catch up soon. All right. I'm very excited about our next guest.
Who's our next guest? She's been avoiding us all day.
Step into the center here.
I saw you. You keep going by.
We've got this. We've even got little tape markers right here.
Tape mark for you to stand
so you know exactly
on the tape
and
then look at the camera, because we're going to be looking at you. You need to be looking at the camera. I don't know. Who knows?
We're here with Laura Falco of Laura Falco Enterprises.
LFI.
New York.
Bigger. The shorter the name, the bigger you sound.
Absolutely. That's true. That's true.
So, Laura, you're a New Yorker through and through. How are you liking the event?
It's an absolutely amazing event. I was saying to Eric that I got full-on shrimp. I've never, ever had that happen.
You got
shrimp. More shrimp.
You got full-on shrimp.
The shrimp were legit, though. Did you try the
Absolutely.
shrimp? Those were legit. The food was, there were no made sliders.
Very professional. The talks are good. The venue is awesome.
Did you go to Kaylin's talk?
I did.
Did you laugh?
I did.
You did. I didn't hear you laughing.
She laughed at you commenting on people not laughing like everyone else did.
I think there's an acoustics problem in the room. Everybody was laughing, and I just couldn't hear it.
I was in the audience. That was not the case.
Okay. All right. Well.
Nobody laughed.
Although I was probably 10 feet from you.
You got to
must have
stay
a
on. You
silent
got to
laugh.
stay on the tape, Laura. You got to stay on the tape. We got to get you.
Why are you just wandering around the floor? She's
I'm a
exploring
mover,
the
man.
space.
I'm a mover. I'm a shaker. I can't sit still. I'm the same way as you. You're like, we're all three of us are doing this.
Just sway.
And
The audio is gonna be like wana, wana, wana. Yeah. So you organized the hackathon. How did that go?
it went well. It turned into a contribution day, which was good. So because I didn't have to actually stand up there and do my thing. But yeah, there were a couple of contributions. A lot of people ran into the integration tests take a long time to run issue. So myself, I was not able to contribute a pull request because of that.
The integration tests?
Yes, they take like 2 hours. And I should know better, but yes, it was the first time I ran them. So I was like, did these really take this long? Yes,
That
they
was
do.
the excuse I was given when I showed up. I showed up and there are people sitting in this horseshoe-shaped table, and everyone's like doodling, or they're checking their email, or they're on Twitter. And
You're a mover.
He just got
I'm a mover.
He just hit her in the face with the microphone. I'm gonna be talking.
Man, I'm like,
But I claimed
you
that
point that thing?
I claimed that everybody did their work over the weekend and brought their pull request to the hackathon, and nobody actually did any work at the hackathon.
I picked a ticket that literally had like commenting out 2 lines of code. I was like, this is good. This is perfect. It's my
take that.
intro into a contribution day. And then I didn't finish it because of the integration test.
That's rough.
I intend to finish that ticket. It's assigned to me in the Magento repo. So I take these things very seriously.
Well, I saw Joshua Warren at Creativity, the model of efficiency. I think he wrote 3 lines of code and had 8 pull requests off of it. I don't know how
he's
he
getting
pulled that
multiple
off.
T-shirts
but
for that one.
Yeah.
Now, what were some of the projects people worked on?
Let's see. Well, Wesley from RoboFirm did a really cool thing with Symphony Console, and I think he might actually be speaking about that.
I think he is.
Yeah, I think
He
was
is,
speaking
yeah.
just a little while ago.
And then I managed to shut down one ticket. I mean, they decided they weren't going to do it. So I don't know if I should get a T-shirt for that or not. I mean, I
you
feel
should.
like it was closed,
Yeah.
right?
At least
it
a
did not
sticker.
result in a pull request, but a ticket was closed, so technical debt was reduced.
That's progress. That's progress.
I know.
So you just brought them to the point of complete demoralization. We're never going to do it.
Whoever
Done.
submitted it, it's like, this is garbage, but you contributed. That's a contribution.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The importance of saying no.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
You didn't get a T-shirt, though,
You need
because
to
of
be able to
the
do
just
that.
general negative
But you
outlook
also
on the
have to
ticket.
be able to say yes. I do fight against the urge to say, nah, that's going to be a job. That's going to take way too long. And
It's got to be about this close.
I'm trying not to move too much. But it is. I fight my instinct to just say no when it comes to client requests. I do.
Now, I'm a bit of an authority on this topic because I send a lot of leads around, and you say no all the time. Like, yeah.
Asking me to do things.
Of course.
New work, yes, I am booked solid.
And the reason I mention that is because you're super in demand, you got a ton of work, the busiest freelancer in New York, so that's good. I mean, whenever somebody says no, I know that they're in demand, right? Like, if somebody's willing to take on every project that comes their way,
They're
you know.
desperate.
I
Yeah.
did that when I first started freelancing. I overextended myself, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. I disappointed the client. I felt awful about it. It's just I never want to experience that again.
Well,
Never will
one
do it.
thing I learned the hard way is that as a small business, you are defined by the projects you pass on, not the ones you take.
Interesting.
expand on that. I feel
Well,
like you're saying the opposite of what
The
you
problem
just
is
said.
the problem is that if you take on the wrong projects for you, just because you're desperate for a project, what that does is consume your resources that could have been dedicated to getting and handling the right project. And so if you're always taking on the wrong projects, you will never be taking on the right projects, because the wrong projects come easy and come fast because you're either cheap or you're just taking on whatever, or they're desperate or they have no other options because nobody else wants it.
Right.
And so if you're always taking the easy projects, you'll never get over that hump to getting the type of projects you want.
Right.
And so you have to know what you're looking for. You have to be self-aware in projects and make sure you're taking on those that fit whatever type of company you want to be.
Makes sense.
I had a client that we parted ways friendly, but it was my decision to part ways because it was just not a right fit. And it was that sort of thing. I picked it up because, I was kind of eager and hungry, and it was early in my Magento career, and we're still friends, so there was no animosity there, but it was definitely me being a little too eager and just grabbing it whenever I should have done more due diligence.
Well, Gary's giving us the nod, so Laura, thank you so much. It's great to have you on. We will catch up with you soon.
Yeah, it's good to see you. The Gary nod.
All right, next contestant.
This is one of my clients.
Okay. Phil, TJ. Yes, sir.
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to meet you. We just have, yeah. Okay.
Well, he's on right now.
Yeah, we got somebody coming on.
Right now.
Step right up. Hey there. Hi, Kaylin.
I'm Jane.
Jane. I think I was supposed to talk with you earlier.
Yeah, I brought it back.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
So, introduce yourselves.
So Adam Melrose and Jane Powell, we're with Shea 2.
How do you pronounce that?
It's Shea 2. Unless
Shea
Jane can do a better job than me, probably.
Shea 2.
Yeah.
Now, you guys are in what kind of business?
Oh, we basically do custom software development, integration, and support. So we help companies get to market faster or help augment their teams with skill sets that they don't currently have in-house.
Got it. And what is the name? What's the origin of the name, Shea 2?
It's actually Sanskrit. It means consciousness of mind.
It's beautiful.
Yeah?
I mean, it's no swift otter, but...
It's no swift. It's no classy llama or blue acorn.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Now, how long have you guys...
Into their naming.
Right. How long have you guys been in the Magento space?
We've been partners since well before the eBay era.
Wow.
So I would say probably 6 years, 5 years.
I learned something new.
And now, do you have any particular specialty within e-commerce, within Magento, any types of clients or projects?
Well, we do a lot of B2B, and we also do a lot of the back-end integration. So we connect with the ERP systems, the warehouse management, order management systems, as well as the front end with a lot of the jQuery and Angular. And
awesome. Now, where are you guys based?
I'm in Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm out of Tampa, Florida. But our corporate headquarters is actually out of Plantation, Florida, which is Fort Lauderdale.
Awesome. And do you have clients in New York? Why did you guys decide to make the trip?
Yeah, we have clients actually in New York, all over the world. So it's, as a Magento partner, it's just a really great fit for us to come here, see our clients, and also talk to new folks as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any of the talks in particular that you had some good takeaways from or learned some good things?
Y'all are working a booth, right?
You're working a booth, so you might not have made it. That's a bad question.
We
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
See, he doesn't. What does he know? He doesn't know what it. He does. He's the talent. He doesn't know what it is to actually.
That's why
work
they
for a
pay
living.
TJ the big bucks.
Yeah, he doesn't know what it's like to work for a living.
Yeah. So how are you guys liking the event?
No, it's a great.
It's a good event. This is our first time here, so we weren't sure what to expect, but I definitely like the way that the content's set up, as well as we've had some good traffic. So
awesome. Awesome. Very good. Well, what do you think are some of the biggest pain points that merchants are dealing with right now? Let's say for B2B merchants.
Well, I think every merchant is having issues with migrating to 2.0.
Yeah.
Because it's not an upgrade, it's a migration.
It's a migration.
So.
They're a little behind if they're going to 2.0 though.
Oh, well, it's true, yes. Let me just say 2.x.
2.x. Yeah, there you go.
I think it's far enough along we could just call it 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Call it
At
2.
some point, it just becomes Magento 2.
Yeah.
Like all the content we've been putting out around B2B, I've been telling people, don't put 2.2 in the content. Don't focus on 2.2.
Yeah.
Because a couple of months from now, 2.3 is going to be out or whatever. And so let's not focus on the number so much as just making sure we identify the platform. And how many years from now is it before Magento 2 is just Magento?
I'll predict 4.
4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're going to support 1 through 2020. So we've got at least 2.5 years before.
Yeah. There you go.
Know, so,
yeah.
But eventually that'll flip, and Magento 2 will be Magento, and you'll have to say Magento 1.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Make that switch.
Yeah. Well, it was great to have you guys on. Anything else you wanted to share, or any? Obviously, anything you want to plug, or any particular offerings you guys have that you want to talk about?
I think I'll let Jane do that plug.
Well, we basically have been around 17 years, and we have over 1,100 engineers. So we actually bring a lot of industry.
You guys are big.
1,100. one. I mean, I don't even know how many zeros are after that. There's a bunch of them.
Wow.
I think there's a couple. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. So we bring a lot of industry knowledge as well.
Okay.
So we work in multiple industries, including retail and marketing technology, supply chain, financial services, and healthcare. So
Okay.
They literally have an army of developers.
They've got an army of
literally
developers.
an army of
If you're
developers.
looking for an army, come to them.
If we're going to have like some sort of Magento blood sport, I'm going to be with these guys.
TJ on my team, if that's the case. He's a big boy. I'll take TJ.
I'll talk half of them down. Your 1,100 army can slaughter the other half.
Yeah.
there we go.
TJ's a tough dude. Tough dude. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
TJ, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right. Appreciate it. Gary's giving us the look.
Yeah, let's
Philly
get Phil. How's it going?
Then he gets busy. We're doing a live stream on Smile. You're on YouTube right now.
Are you serious? All right.
Serious? Right there. YouTube. Well, right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's get a quick interview in.
Jump on in.
Who are you? What company
Here
with?
comes Phil.
Actually, we got somebody that's just scheduled.
One thing I know
So
about Phil from my last live stream is if you make him wait a couple minutes, he's going to bolt. No.
But if you
These
guys want to
just
come in
walked up, but
afterwards,
if you want to just wait,
talk to Gary and he'll get you in.
Get in line. He'll get you in line here.
Cool.
Gary's handling that over here.
Am I allowed to hold my coffee?
Absolutely.
Does it have any liquor in it?
No, absolutely.
Then you got to put it down.
Phillip Jackson, looking good as ever. Looking
No.
fantastic.
Got the fade going on.
I want to.
He's taking it up a notch.
I went in, I said, can you guys hear me? Oh, I went in, I said, give me a high top.
I got so excited. I lost
He
track.
does that. He's supposed to be the microphone hold over to somebody.
Give me a high top fade, and then they just made it really high, and there's no fade. It's just like
It's got a little fade in the back.
little. Well, that's
Little
I
bit.
got to grow this part out. You see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This right here. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah,
like that. I
we need
had
to
like the
zoom in.
Donald Duck going on. I wasn't too happy about the Donald Duck. So what's up? Having a good show?
Been a good time.
It's going
man.
okay.
Just
You know,
hanging out.
Gary's been our, the muscle, so he ropes people in, and we give him a hard time. And
We're starting to figure out an actual system here that works, right? And he drags people in, and then when we want to get somebody off, we get to blame it on him, and we just say, "Oh, Gary's giving us the look. Time for the next guest," and then we don't have to be the bad guys.
I like that.
Yeah.
Were you in Kalen's talk?
I did. I missed like the first few seconds, but I did make it in there for the talk.
That was super good.
Was it good?
Good. It was really good.
I felt like I wasn't getting any feedback. Like, I couldn't. Nobody was like laughing at my jokes and stuff. It was.
There was nobody laughing.
Phil
at his
was the
jokes.
only body giving me
He
head
didn't feel
nods.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's like, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was there for all of that, so it was just an acknowledgement of yes, that happened.
My favorite part of your talk is the question. Somebody's like, "Do you think the podcast had anything to do with your success?" And you spent 10 minutes saying no. I wish you just said no. There's no way that.
I don't know why I have.
What you should have said is how much of that success was based on the podcast. You should have said, if I'm being truthful, 100%, and just left it at that.
Just left it at that. Quick answer. I don't know why I have such a hard time with that.
Because it means I've done something right in my life. that means that you're stuck with me for a long time. Yeah. No, it's
It means
it's
you owe
beautiful.
him some of that.
Actually,
buy
it's
out there.
amazing to see some of the. I obviously people watching weren't in the talk. So,
No, unless they're watching it later.
right.
Yeah.
So the idea of you having to market yourself as a developer is just amazing. I think that the sort of the reading between the lines is that no matter what you do to be successful, if you don't want to just leave it up to luck, and if you don't want to just leave it up to chance that people are going to find something, it means that you're going to have to get out there and get the word out. And if you don't like calling that sales, fine, but that's effectively what it is. You're selling yourself. And what I would love to see even in the future is maybe kind of extending that into, you touched on it on as you move up in your company, as you move up in your role, like what could you push up into next? What I would love to even see you equate it to is sort of like have you ever had this problem, which is like nobody's listening to your, to your architecture decision. Nobody's listening. Like the reason that you're failing there is not because people don't like you or is that maybe you just don't know how to sell the idea. And learning a little bit of sales acumen would do you a world of good.
Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of times developers just get frustrated and then they try a couple of times and then they kind of give up and then they kind of move into a mode of being passive aggressive, and like not really being bought in and stuff. And I think helping people navigate that would be huge. One
of the things we run into trying to hire people is that we're constantly running into several types of developers, in that you've got people that don't know anything and they just are really good at selling themselves, and you find out later that they don't match their resume, but you for that you get a lot of people that are really good at what they do, but they don't know how to write a resume. They don't know how to interview.
Right.
They don't know how to sell, what they know how to do.
That's it right there. So that's a whole separate set of skills is your ability to I think that there's an art form in being able to, yes, the interview is a sales pitch. It's a sales pitch, and I think that we spend a lot of time telling candidates, I know that this is your bread and butter, this is what you do, but you spend a lot of time telling them, it's like, well, the candidate is vetting the company who's hiring them as much as the company is vetting them. And as much as we would like that to be true, in reality, I believe that the candidate is probably intimidated and spends a lot of time sort of worried about how they're selling themselves. And if you don't have any tactics, if you haven't ever thought about how to do it and you just show up on the day, like when you learn to ride a bike, you're gonna fall a couple times, right? When you got to practice. You don't just wake up one day and go ride a bike. Like you go through and you likely have somebody else who knows how to ride a bike there with you to help you. And I think that's really what your talk was doing is like, this is how I as a developer was able to sell myself and become successful by doing that. And there's benefit I want you to see the benefit in my success so that you can be successful too. And I just thought that was great.
Yeah, and and the truth is that sometimes a candidate isn't vetting the company, right? It's a supply and demand. Like you've got developers that are on one side of the supply where they're very picky. They can work wherever they want, and so they're very much dictating terms.
Well, those are the guys that are good at selling themselves, though. The ones that are in super high demand are the ones that know that are actually the real deal, and they know how to convey that message.
Yeah.
And when you are that person, you can pretty much pick and choose what job you want.
Yeah. And so it also comes down to just talent. It also just comes down to like how good you are, how productive you are. You can't fake, there's no techniques, and so you just got to put in the work and practice. And like if you're just getting started, like, hey, that's why I said, hey, go out there and just do a pull request every day for 365 days. Get better, perfect your craft.
I'm interested, I think especially on the hiring side, and I know this plays well into Commerce Hero, and you've probably dealt with this at Jamerson, but the person who's doing the hiring, or the person who's the decision maker in the hiring, is not always the person in direct control, and that's not always their direct report on the team. And usually it's a team decision, right? You have a lot of people who either very infrequently engage with the person that they're hiring, or are looking for a culture fit, or there's a lot of factors that are beyond just your ability. So it does go beyond just your knowledge as being able to execute, right? It also comes down to like the soft skills, like the ability to be able to communicate effectively to a room of people, to to be able to type emails without typos. There's so many things that I think that go beyond just the can I write code, and that's really what we look for. I wouldn't call it a cultural interview so much, but that's what we look for is yes, we're going to vet that you know how to do your job, right? Like you said, like do that, but what's all the stuff around it? Could we plot out what that is and say it's like, where does this person fit best in the organization? Are they client-facing at all? If so, there's a whole list of things that they need to be able to do. It's not just based on whether they can sell themselves. Part of selling yourself might be to write a well-formed email. I don't know how you fake that unless you're just being outright dishonest, right? So there are some things I think that I don't know where I'm going with that, but it's an interesting thought, and I'd love to see you kind of keep doing the talk and developing it.
Yeah, there's a lot of angles to continue to flesh out. So you're with Something Digital, e-commerce evangelist, and how are you liking the event?
This is awesome. Gosh, this event. There's some history with Meet Magento New York.
Had a few skeptics coming into it.
Yeah, I was not one of them. Actually, I was concerned mostly because there wasn't a long period of time to get the word out. But the fact that there was such an incredible turnout really shows that it didn't really have anything to do with the amount of time for prep. If anything, like it created a flurry of interest all here at the last minute, which is great. Last year's event just wasn't good, in my opinion. I think it put a bad taste in a bunch of people's mouths. This sets the bar.
You don't pull any punches.
Yeah, sets the bar higher than it's ever been. I think this is, and I'll tell you why I think that is that my team from Something Digital is here, and they're like, premier sponsor next year. Magento New York. We're going to be here. This is it. We need to own this. This is our backyard. I'm like, I've been saying this for 3 years. Where were you? So this is...
you get to say I told you so on live stream.
So I told you so. Do with that what you will. But this is a phenomenal event. This year is so good. The space is great. The tech is great. The food is phenomenal. For conference food?
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me? There's always coffee. There's always tea. There's always little snacks hanging around. There's plenty of hallway track going on. There are 3 info tracks. I cannot wait to talk about this endlessly on Mage Talk. So I'm really excited about it.
Very good.
Not to mention the audio, the fact that there are actual stages with walls, and I mean, and I'm not going to knock the venue last year, but it was my first one. So I did not have any sort of historical context in which to gauge, the event. But, I mean, it was a fun time. It was good. There were obviously some issues with audio and, the space and people talking and you not being able to hear the actual presentations.
Right.
But this is, I mean, short of Imagine, this is definitely the most elaborate Magento event I've been to.
Yeah.
This reminds me of is Spain. Yeah, Meet Magento Spain. They do it in a very similar type of a venue. And I think that I think of Spain, the Meet Magento Spain event, and Germany, and maybe, I don't know. I couldn't think of another one off the top of my head, but those two are like the premier Magento events that are outside of the Magento Imagine event.
Have you gone to Netherlands?
I haven't. That's the other one. That's the other one. But they're usually, people talk about it as a premier event because there's so many people there. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and that makes it kind of exciting. In this case, like it's got both. It is extremely well done and great content, and there are a lot of people here. And I'm really, really stoked about next year. I really hope that this, just grows and gets bigger and better. So this is now, in my opinion, if they can reproduce this next year, this is the premier event outside of Imagine. Yeah.
Definitely a must attend.
Yeah. Now you just gave a talk. How did that go?
It was great. It's a talk that I've sort of that has evolved over the last year. I've given it a few times. It's called "The Shopping Cart is Dead: The Future of E-commerce." And the gist is that the way that we think about e-commerce is always in the context of like real-world metaphors, carts, checkout. Even the fact that a store is a thing that you go to online. That is a metaphor that's holding us back from having a real evolution in the way that people engage in commerce. And so I'm excited that I got to share it here. one of the things that I think is sort of important is that these terms that we use today for technology, if you look in the past and in the history of the past, they go away after some period of time. So we say things like augmented reality now, or I say things like ambient commerce or passive commerce. All of that stuff goes away eventually. Just like the word phone has come to evolve to be something completely different than what it used to mean. I don't think that we're going to think of things in terms of these technology names. They're just going to be commonplace in our life. So they will be what we call commerce. And the way that people are trying to say that digital commerce is commerce, it's not just e-commerce anymore. I think we're going to go through that same transition for some of these more future-leaning, cartless commerce.
Yeah, like with an Uber, it's not e-commerce. It's just an Uber. You know, it's just, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and to your point, there's a great example of that is an opportunity to engage in commerce that doesn't require a shopping cart, and I think there's a lot more of that in our future than we have seen in the past, which has been bound to catalogs and bound to buying multiple items in particular transactions. So I think, yeah, more on demand, more one click, more purchasing being available wherever we happen to be.
We were talking about PWAs, and I didn't realize that they had APIs to get payment info, stored credit cards, shipping I don't know when shipping addresses are going to hit, but now all of a sudden you're competitive.
Stored in the browser.
It's going to be stored in the browser. So I mean, now you're competitive with Amazon. You just got one click payment, shipping, all that kind of stuff. So that's huge. What is
Yeah, so I just a thought about that is that for things to become standards, it takes two things. One, general agreement and time, and we've not had either. So yes, those things are probably coming in the future, but a standard web payments API is only just arrived, and certain big players like Apple are not very fast to adopt them, especially in mobile, and one that's been in, I think, draft spec for 8 years now is a social share API in the browser. So if I want to click a share button, if I click it from the browser context menu, I'm going to get the UI from my phone that's like, where do you want to share this? And it's going to have me all the context of the apps that can take shareable information on my phone. And that's particular to me because they're my apps on my phone. Yeah. But what instead we have is a bunch of social share icons, like it looks like NASCAR on all our websites of all the places we engage with social. And that's because the social share API in browsers is just something that never came around. It is in Chrome Nightly right now. So Chrome Canary has that API. But again, Apple, it's going to be a long time to get that, accepted. And so really it's going to, for those things to be transformative, we'll get there. It's just going to take time. And agreement, and we don't have either.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Phillip Jackson.
Demand typically is what forces them to figure it out and agree, right?
That's what it is.
As you always say, it's not until Google starts slapping people with penalties.
So just what I say is that when Google makes it part of the ranking algorithm, so if you want to rise to the top, you got to do this thing. Everybody wants it, right? And I think that's where we're heading. We're seeing AMP. So something just happened recently with AMP. Again, this is one of those hot topics for in e-commerce right now, which is everybody wants AMP, which is accelerated mobile pages, which is effectively you hosting a snapshot or a cached version of your site on Google. And so it is literally the fastest way to ship your web page to a person. The problem is that AMP isn't technically part of the ranking algorithm, but there is a cognitive bias that people are developing to wanting to prefer AMP links because there's a little bolt icon. Like, I know that when I click that, it's going to be fast. So it may not have a bearing on rank, but it does have a bearing on whether I'm going to click through. And so, again, that might be something that we also see sort of evolve is whether it's PWA, whether it's some other mechanism to get people to recognize to see the value in a link before they click it. It's beyond just what the text says anymore. And I think that's what has a lot of people concerned. But PWAs are really cool because there's really great API coverage in Magento and 2.2. I think we're a long way away from full API coverage still, but it's really encouraging, especially with the new B2B release. there's so much API coverage in B2B to sort of do all the things you need to do in B2B from like an ETL or a middleware system, so like MuleSoft or Boomi, or like these big enterprise middlewares that people are already running their SAP and Salesforce on, to just plug their Magento into that with a couple, with, you know, literally, especially in MuleSoft, because I don't know if you've ever worked with any of these. So MuleSoft has this ability to tap right into the API definition. And Magento uses, I always forget the name of this, Swagger. So the Swagger API definition actually tells you all the API endpoints, what the data types should be, the format of the JSON. Like, it is the documentation of your API. And MuleSoft can just read that. So when 2.2 landed, all you had to do is press a button, it reads the Swagger API, and now MuleSoft can do Magento 2.2. That's the thing that brokers, it is the hub with all the spokes to everything in your organization. So if you're using Salesforce and SAP, then you can get them to talk to Magento B2B now with a few clicks of a button. That's insane. And that's the stepping point that we need. More of that from Magento for us to get to PWA. It's exciting.
I was talking to somebody else that's done a lot of B2B, looked at even Ecommerce, and talked about how the B2B feature set within Magento is just, they've built a lot of their own B2B features. They're pitching big clients, and they said the feature set is just really on point. It's
definitely 80-20, I think.
But the important features.
Yeah.
Like they got the key features in.
I think they got the 20% that covers 80% of people's needs. There's certainly a lot of niche B2B functionality that you could probably still need. And some of that, we're running up against right now, but at least now the custom work is this small and the inbuilt capability is this big.
Right. It allows you to focus your effort on developing the differentiating features or the industry-specific features, and not having to support negotiated pricing or product exclusivity or quotes or just the basic B2B features that everybody needs.
Yeah.
It's a great camera shot you got.
It's pretty good, right?
It's really good.
Check, we got the tape and everything, man.
Well, I think we turned the camera. I don't know. Did we? It seems a little off now with the tape. I don't know. But we're getting there.
Phillip Jackson.
Thank you so much.
Gary's giving us a look.
Congratulations. You guys did a great job with this whole thing. This looks beautiful.
Thanks, man. I did most of the work, but, I've been...
Literally, dude's like, he hit me up last night. He's like, I don't think I'm going to roll in. Or that was this morning. He's like, I don't think I'm going to roll in until about 9 o'clock.
200.
So I had to come and set the whole thing up, and then the talent just strolls in when he wants to start streaming, right?
Now you understand Phil's pain. 200 emails in the inbox, in my defense, that I had to clear through.
Did you? And that's why you didn't run with us this morning.
That is why. Yes.
It's not actually why, but I'll say it's why.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
That's the reason. Yes, that is the reason why.
So.
Great job, man.
I think we're gonna wrap this. Are we gonna wrap this up?
Yeah, I think we're about to wrap it up.
It's about keynote o'clock.
Keynote
o'clock.
So
let's see. Can we center? Are we centered? Time to hit the keynote. I'm very excited. And Gary's giving us the.
Gary's giving us the nod.
I would just keep saying
time to go. I think they're about to have drinks after the keynote. Someone said they were going to be drinks available. And then we've got the after party, which we're not going to stream the after party. We're going to go enjoy the after party.
Because TJ tried to stream an after party, and
nobody really knew what
was
going on, and we were sitting there just. Now, it was pretty funny stuff. It was good stuff, but we had some. The problem with the after party is you don't really know the facilities, and it's a little less control over the environment and where you're going to be and Wi-Fi and things like that. So it's a little more fraught with challenges. So we're just going to go enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. We're going to come back tomorrow morning and do some more.
Tomorrow at 9 o'clock Eastern time, and that's the plan. Thanks for tuning in. Any feedback you have, we'd love to hear. Just be gentle, be nice.
We're just trying to figure
go
this
easy
out.
on us. We're learning as we go. So that's a wrap. I guess we're going to stop it now.
So we're going to hit the stop button.